Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of CarX Drift Racing 2 with Brogehammer Auto House. Today we are going to focus on the Bimmy P30, which is a BMW E30 in real life. And this one we have a 7-liter V8 swap for. So I'm going to go through and kind of show you guys the engine swap and all the tune stuff towards the end of the video. In the meantime, I'm going to show you a couple drifts that I got through. I did enter a top 32 with this car, but unfortunately I got a business call in the middle of the challenge and I only got to race the top 8 challenge, which I had. So we'll show you guys that and give you a full breakdown of kind of like what I go through mentally as far as how I prepare for tandem battles, what I think of my own qualifiers, which is what we're about to see right here, and kind of give you guys some tips and tricks for how I play it as far as the strategy goes. So as you can see right off the bat in the first run, I'm running semi-slick tires on my BMW Bimmy P30. My entry was not good on that first run, and then you can see here on this I'm coming out a little too wide, got in the dirt, which threw my line off. Now those are all mental notes I take for my second run and my third run, you know, combining all of it to put it all together into one good run. Flattened out on that last corner there and got pretty good on the outside zone to end it off. So now with those mental notes in mind, I thought I would try to change to a sport tire to give me some more smooth flow and a smoother drift line than what I can achieve with the semi-slicks. Semi-slicks are faster and grippier, but they don't always allow you to have the best kind of flow. So here you can see I changed up my initiation. I went a little bit further out and then pulled a handbrake and got into throttle. However, I did go a little too far and had to let off throttle quite a bit to let the grip catch me before I went off track. Really liked this outside zone here, got right on the tires, flicked it, and again got a little too deep in this zone. I don't want to be in the dirt, not a very good lead run for somebody to try to chase me. And then this transition here was perfect on this run, but as you'll see in my third run, that's where my ultimate error was on my third run. So generally speaking, the second run was pretty good. I believe they gave me 12,681. So pretty decent run there, but here's run 3, and I apologize, it's a replay because my recording got interrupted by another phone call. Good entry there. I got out to this outside zone really well, filled that whole kind of corner, got into the zone, flicked it in. This time I did not go in too fast in that corner and was able to hold a solid line. But here's where my error was right here. I flicked over and kept too much speed, had to drop way down in speed and then kind of re-enter almost to get to this outside zone here. And then I flicked it again back and was short with that farthest outside zone. However, for some reason, the third run was my highest scoring run, which I would prefer it wasn't because it wasn't the smoothest lead run for a chase driver to chase. So there was only so many people in the lobby, so we ended up going straight to a top 8 right off the bat. And these are my top 8 battles. In this first battle, I was only on a sport tire while the lead was on a semi-slick. That's why I tried to cut that corner there and ended up running into the tires. I knew that as soon as that race started, I saw that he had the semi-slicks, and basically I knew that that was a throwaway run because I'm not going to be able to keep up with him on my sport tires. So make sure you also match the tires that they have. Now with these 3 runs when you're chasing, I always like to, on the first run, kind of get a sight lap and know where he brakes, where he handbrakes, if he hits anything, where his drift kind of goes a whack from what you would expect it to be. So you can see I switched to a semi-slick because I need that for grip. And then the second run, like this one you're about to see, I always get a little more aggressive, but I'm okay with using some handbrake to be really close to him, but not running into him, because if you run into him, your multiplier gets cut out and you lose a bunch of points and all that stuff. So this time I entered with him pretty well. I was still pretty far behind. Tried to bring him in here a little bit, but I was using a little too much handbrake in my opinion. You can hear when the engine kind of lulls down. That's me pulling the handbrake, and then naturally it kind of pushed me to the inside of the corner, which was not good. I knew he was going to hit those tires, that's why I fell back. And then here on this back corner, I could not match his angle and speed, and I think it just has to do with the difference in the chassis and the vehicles, but just really couldn't pull that corner together when I was chasing him. So not a great second chase run. So now on the third run, my goal is to chase how I did in the second run, but rather than pull my handbrake, I'm going to actually modulate the throttle a lot more. So rather than somewhere where I'd pull a handbrake, I let off throttle and try to kind of slow the car down that way, because when the handbrake comes and brings the rear wheels to a complete stop, it takes the engine a little bit longer to get that RPM back. In this case, because I'm not clutch kicking while I'm handbraking, it's too much to do on a mobile phone. So you'll hear the kind of the modulation here in my throttle so that I can stick where I need to on him. And that's my biggest tip for really getting the most points and the best drift, is to try to use the least amount of handbrake possible, which I know sounds maybe cliche, but it's just really helpful. It keeps your vehicle's momentum steady and consistent, and all that. So I did end up winning that battle, and then I went back and checked. You can see here, I went up to the top part of the bracket to see who my next opponent would be, which is the Pablo Car Blackjack X22. He had a massive score, so I went back and clicked on qualifiers so I could watch one of his runs. Now, we're gonna watch this run anyways, but like I said, I got a business call right after this and was unable to complete the competition before the time ran out. But I still wanna show you guys what I think when I look at these. So, the Blackjack X22, in my opinion, is a bit of a cheater car. I know I can get it too, but I don't have it. I think it's really unfair to allow it in the top 32 battles, because there's no other cars in the game that are as fast and as big of an angle as this car. Now, this guy ran a fabulous line, but what I'm going to show you here is on this outside zone, he nails the tires to a point where you would think that it should have zeroed out his multiplier, which would have given him a much lower score, but it did not. So anyways, good drift by him. Bummer that I wasn't able to battle it out with him, because I think I could have been able to kind of keep up with him. Okay, so we're going to jump into the details on my Bimmy P30 here. I do have the D-Master body kit on it that just came out not too long ago. They have an R&T kit, which is more like a Liberty Walk. And then I think the CBW kit is kind of like a E30 M Coupe kit, like a factory M Coupe. And then the Missile, of course, looks ridiculous like most of them do, with plastic over fenders and missing bumpers and stuff. So I did unlock, I have this thing to Pro Drift 3, as you have to have it to make an engine swap work. And then I swapped in the V8 engine swap. I'm going to show you guys the tuning details here of the car, and then we'll go from there. So I'm running 13 centimeters in the front, 63 kilonanometers. I'm sorry, I live in the USA, so I don't use those terms. The sway bar in the front is only at 64, which normally on most of my cars I do run almost a fully stiffened sway bar. This car just didn't work that well, and then the wheel toe is at negative 0.03, which I will say on most cars I run at about a positive 0.05. Negative 4.7 camber, 8.4 degrees of caster, and 70% Ackermann Angle. I've had a lot of people ask me about the Ackermann Angle. And the simplest way to describe it, in my opinion, is that the lower your Ackermann Angle, the more front grip you'll have. And sometimes that's a bad thing, but if you're noticing that your front's washing out a lot and you're not getting enough steering input reaction, try to lower that caster in the front and see if that helps you. Running negative 1.5 degrees of camber in the rear, no sway bar in the rear, and 61 stiffness. So as you can see here on my front, I'm running 17-inch by 285 tires with a 40% profile. And then in the rear, I'm running a 305 with a 35% profile. And the side profile is going to be a big contributor. It's the sidewall thickness. And the more you have, the more side bite your car will have, meaning when you let off throttle, it'll kind of grab and want to grip up. But I actually like a lot of side bite in my driving style. So I have the differential at 0.57, 350 is the overall gear ratio, and basically the higher that the gear ratio number is, the more acceleration you'll have, but the less top speed, and vice versa for going lower. Gear shifting delay all the way to the bottom, and then you notice 6 gears at a 0.97. I shoot for around a 1.0 final gear ratio, depending if it's a 5 or 6 speed. Braking momentum, you can see there, 75% to the front. The axis widths I thought were kind of funny on this body kit because they're super negative, obviously. But if you were to put them at 0, they poke way out. I'm going to show you here with the front axis. If it was at 0, I mean, that's not even fitting in the fender well. So I know it looks weird to have -6, -5 in the rear, all that. And I actually noticed that the rear was poking out a little more than I'd really prefer it to as well. So I brought that down to a -8 and just figured I'd leave it there for the looks. Thanks guys for watching. I appreciate it. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.